Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. A lot of people are understandably very doomer about a lot of things right now, given the recent Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. Now, I've already said my piece on Kyle Rittenhouse a while ago. I don't really want to try and milk that for all it's worth. I do tend to try and say my piece on something and kind of leave it at that. With that being said, I want to remind people that unfortunately, this is just kind of normal in America's justice system. So many of us were saying, prepare yourselves for a bad verdict here, because unfortunately, a lot of people tend to walk. Recently, the other trial that has not been nearly as reported or focused on is that of the killers of Ahmaud Arbery, the black man who was basically gunned down in the streets in Georgia. That trial has also been full of some really messed up stuff, but that is an example of where we got lucky, right? We were lucky that the video came out and then people said, okay, no, this has to go to trial. This doesn't happen for so many other things. And we know the conservative hypocrisy is just so deep and entrenched that, oh no, see, in this instance, it's fine in self-defense and whatever. But this, when it's a criminal youth who happens to be non-white, well, then it's completely different. This is the sad reality of things in America. However, I want to remind people that there is good news out there. And, unfortunately, being a leftist, as I've said before, like somewhere back in the day, I'll see if I can find it, but no promises. It kind of sucks because you tend to lose a lot of the time. But overall, the trajectory is pretty much always in our favor. Yes, there's ups and downs, like progress is non-linear. Lots of people will tell you this. But overall, it tends to trend in the right way over a long enough period of time. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I think people could use some good news. Remember the poor, tragic story of Elijah McClain? Well, all the police involved in his murder are being charged with homicide. I know things seem very dire right now, and that's because they are, but I think it's time to also remind people that there's a lot of good out there, and not just in America, like that whole thing I just shared about Elijah McClain and the police. There are good news stories from around the world. Over in Britain, Uber is paying pensions to all its UK drivers, backdated to 2017, and that was announced just in September. Less than a month ago, it was announced that the state of Baja California has decriminalized abortion following Mexico City and the states of Oaxaca, Hidalgo, and Veracruz. So the fight for abortion rights continues, and we're seeing progress in other corners of the world. Here in Canada, I know we're all really upset with all that we're seeing with the Wet'suwet'en and the RCMP just again being terrible, and the BC government showing its terrible, god-awful priorities. But there's also some real beauty happening here. People displaced by floods are reporting stories of very welcoming communities who are putting together, shows for kids and making sure that people actually have warm, dry places to stay, whether it's motels or the spare rooms that people have. It is a real showing of solidarity with their fellow Canadians. Volunteers are rallying to help those displaced by floods, and they're cooking more than 3,000 meals. My point is that even when our governments so clearly show a disregard for us, we don't show a disregard for each other. We are seeing that so clearly in the interior of BC right now. And while the RCMP are clearing out blockades, other blockades and rail blockades are showing up in other corners of Canada in solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en. And so as much as, again, this rightfully feels like just another stab in the back and, oh God, how's reconciliation doing? Not great, right? And that's true, but let's also not forget that Ryerson University will change its name following a recommendation from a special task force that examined the legacy of its namesake, Egerton Ryerson. That was just a few short months ago. And again, on the climate front, Canada's second largest pension fund is vowing to withdraw all of its money from oil production by the end of next year. And that also came right on the heels of the news that Quebec was looking at banning all fossil fuel extraction in the province. Is it a guarantee? No, but it's just a sign that wherever you look, progress is being made. Even gay rights got a solid win over in Switzerland. Nearly 2/3 of Swiss voters backed the government's plan to introduce same-sex marriage in a referendum held on Sunday, with campaigners calling it a historic day for gay rights in Switzerland. That was in late September. I know things feel bleak, and it's not to say that they aren't. There is just so much terrible, bad news that comes at us every goddamn day in this cursed timeline we live in. But that is not to say that there isn't hope and good things that happen that are worth celebrating. You are more than allowed to feel completely just dejected, angry, unsurprised, like whatever you're feeling right now, contempt for the justice system, whatever you're feeling right now about the great many things that are plaguing the world, you are absolutely right to feel that. And it's good because that shows that you care. You, like me and so many others, want a better world, a fairer, more just and equitable world for all human beings. And I think that is a great thing, and that we use that to try and actually work towards that goal. That is a good thing. So I don't want to take that away from people and try and do the kind of toxic positivity thing of, no, see, things are fine. It's all rainbows and sunshine. But I think right now is a very good time to remind people that lots of good has happened in various corners of the world, even just in the past few months. It's not like I had to go back to, well, this one good thing happened in 2018, right? Like, there are good things that are happening in various corners of the world all the time. The overarching moral arc of the universe tends to trend in the right way. It just may take us a lot of time to get there. We may take a lot of steps back sometimes, but it always tends to track in the right direction. So I just want people to keep that in mind, because there is good news out there, and it's happening even relatively recently. But again, I completely understand why people are so upset, sad, dejected, angry, however you choose to feel. Again, I completely understand. But that's not to say that we need to give up hope. There are plenty of reasons still to be hopeful, and maybe I need to do more of that on this channel instead of when, it's absolutely at the darkest and people could use that. Maybe I should do that a little more often. And so I guess the fact that I haven't is kind of what's bothering me today.